Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So in today's video, we're actually going to do my first attempt of the newest dungeon unlocked from Chapter 5 of the Apocrypha, and that would be the Mysterious Vortex. Now keep in mind, it's actually the same dungeon as the previous 4 chapters if you've played through any of those Apocrypha chapters. However, the difference is that, it will feature the enemies that you encountered as well as the boss from Chapter 5. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So, of course, being that this is Nona's dungeon, just like the all other ones, you will want to bring her in just so she can have a chance of, in the case of Red Keys, 20% chance or 1 in 5 chance of getting an extra shadow for herself. Also note that I do have 3 enemy encounters up. The reason why is because you do want to kill off as many of the mobs and horrors as possible. And you're going to be using that for the upgrades in the Eret village. There will be some defenses that you can use to help augment those super boss fights so you don't die nearly as easily. And so it does use a red key. And here we go. In terms of light and shadow requirements, you will need at least 120 either light or shadow. And just remember that you want to choose the right pillar of light. I believe the one on the left is for the earlier chapters, and the one on the right obviously is for the later chapters. And so we're going to go with the Isle of Gospel very hard. And if you've already finished a chapter, you will kind of remember the mobs you're facing, and so bring a team that can handle it. For example, I believe the super boss is weak to wind, at least in the first phase. The mobs are also weak to fire, and so in the case of this team was my overworld dungeon team from other dungeons. Not only that, it can actually handle the Omegopolis dungeon because most of the enemies are either vulnerable to either fire magic or wind pierce. And so we are looking for the chests, of which they will be used for upgrades for the defenses, and I believe the mob drops are used for upgrades for these weapons that you can grind out from the overworld. Okay, obviously everything is new because it's our first time, and make sure you pick up all the sparkles. Those are the points you're gathering in this particular phase of the dungeon. I believe you'll need something in the 35,000 points roughly to unlock all their rewards, including things like chant scripts, like Luring Shadow and Guiding Light. Also Chronostones, which all of us probably need after all the summoning we've been doing. And so, of course, once you're familiar with where all the chests are, you can just use the map, get the sparkles, and then pick up the chest items as you walk through. It will make it easier, like I said, having all those 3 encounter ups, because as you can clearly see, I'm going to clear all 5 encounters before we reach the end of the floor, and there are 3 floors just like usual. I imagine the chest layout will be the same, 2, 1, 3, just like all others. And so I did walk all the way through because this is my first time, making sure that we don't miss any chests. So all the enemies are killed, and we are moving on. Now, just like most dungeons, there should be a hard like a rare area. I'm not sure which ones they are and which ones they're called, so you can let me know in the comments below which one I'm watching for. But in this case, because I only run the dungeon for the minimum requirements in order to get all the points, I won't, I don't usually worry too much about it. Also, as you can clearly see, you will get achievements because these enemies are the same mobs as you face in the overworld. So if you haven't killed off 20 or 100 of them, you will get the corresponding bronze reward badges for those, and of course those come with a few chronostones for your effort. That being said, you'll still have to grind both outside and inside because the drops from the overworld will be different from the drops from this dungeon. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I don't miss it because, as you know, chests are usually in corner areas, and so we want to make sure we walk all the way through. I don't want to miss anything, only because this is my first time. And once you kill off everything anyways, it's not nearly as, cumbersome to kind of walk all the way through. So I'm just going to walk down. You can see I hit that corner and saw one, and then I'm going to hit the other corner on the far bottom left in order to cover all my bases, so to speak. See, part of it also is because the map is already completely lit up for us, like you can see here. So I can't tell which areas I haven't explored. And you can see there is a chest there, which is good timing. We don't want to waste any sort of extra time walking through. All right, so again, this boss, this horror is weak to fire magic, and so we can blow it away with one hit. Having a 254 Garyu True Manifested is of great use in all areas of the game. I know he's free to play and there are probably more powerful units, but don't forget that as much as you say he's not that powerful, having a 255 makes a huge difference because, as you know, once you have 255 shadow or light on a unit, you can equip 4 Grasta badges on it, 4 Grasta slots, as well as 2 badges and 4 moves, and that allows for a lot more versatility and customization, as well as that extra Grasta slot really does make up for possibly a lower damage modifier on some of the older units, especially, you know, free units aren't nearly as powerful in some cases as gacha units, at least from a DPS standpoint. I mean, I think that a lot of free units are still very, very viable. For example, Kid, Garyu, a few of those are very standout-ish, and even some gacha characters really can't match that those kind of numbers in terms of either buffs, debuffs, and so on and so forth. They do have quite a bit of powerful free characters so that you can clear even super bosses with them, although as you know, I'm not the expert on free-to-play clears in terms of free units. I believe one of our resident subreddit and YouTube channels, Minodyne, is usually the one to go to for heavy-duty free-to-play strats, and he has a lot of interesting, I assume it's a he, has a lot of interesting strats to kind of clear boss fights. So if you find that GamerDad isn't up to date with a lot of the boss fights recently at least, or you just want to try something different and challenging with free-to-play strats, you can check out his things. Now, he doesn't show Grasta loadout and an equipment setup, so assume that you'll have to optimize that either you know, on your own, or you can ask for help on either the subreddit or the Discord channel. I'm sure they will be able to kind of help assist you with that. Okay, we killed off everything and killed the horrors as well, so just finishing off the last corners to see if there's any other chests, and we are good to go. Alright, and we are at the final boss. I'm assuming this chest does have a chance, probably 0.5% or 1 in 200 of getting a chance script. Obviously, being my first run, we haven't seen anything like that. Okay, so just as I mentioned, it is resistant to fire magic. However, it is weak to that, and it is also weak to earth. So you can see earth as well as nope, it's just I guess it may just be pierce. So in this case, we're just going to run a full AF and see if there's an HP stopper. So you can see I set up with Undying Shade because it's multi-hits, Horai Jewel from ASCHIO, and then we just spam our far right, which is all my DPS moves. I don't use Explosion to stack extra int on Garyu, because with the mental focus from Horai Jewel, that's usually enough to kill any sort of horrors or kind of dungeon bosses in one go. Obviously, if you're taking on something a lot more powerful, then we can use a setup with Explosion to give int up and weapon damage up or staff damage up to your team. In this case, not necessary, you know, under 20 million damage needed. Alright, so same thing, this dungeon does have the chance of dropping treatises and codexes and opuses because it's a red key, however I didn't get any. And the 1 in 5 chance for Nona did not do very well for me. So, you know, it is unfortunate. And like I said, with the Immaculate Fragments, which is the point gathering, you do get those dropped into your records. So you can see we already gathered a few thousand, and this is the only way to gather it. You cannot get it in the overworld, and so you will gather it here and you can receive those awards. So the early ones obviously are things like scrolls. Guiding Light Fist is obviously useful. Any Guiding Light items are very useful, especially for free-to-plays, and I'll leave the Chronos Stones uncollected. And of course we get a silver badge and a couple of Chronos Stones for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And time for me to use all my red keys and grind this out over the next few days.